It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Ebuka Obiuchendo. Thanks a lot for joining us. Today we have a special focus on a sector that continues to bother Nigerians, and rightly so, security, or the lack of it, like I always say.
The security problem in Nigeria is one that has been for years. What strategies have worked? Which has failed? How can we fix the security problem in Nigeria? Today on Rubbin Minds, we have a focused conversation on security. To kickstart the show today, Ebuka Obiuchendo chats with security analyst Kikelomo Shodeko. Next on Rubbin Minds.
I have with me Kikelomo Shodeko, who is an intelligence analyst. Thanks for being here today. I read some time ago, not too long ago actually, about the fact that the Northeast and Boko Haram's sort of territory seems to be spreading again. Is that a fact? Because one of the biggest bragging points that this government has had over time has been the fact that, they've reclaimed territory that Boko Haram claimed. Is that a fact that they seem to be reclaiming territory again? And how bad is the Boko Haram situation right now?
The truth is, every time we want to talk about what the government has been able to achieve with the Boko Haram insurgents, we mostly have to rely on open source and human intelligence. So it is what we are being fed, we have to pick as facts. So we can't go around with our own ideas of what is happening. So the question is, human intelligence, are they telling us that Boko Haram have invaded their communities again? The open source, that is our media houses, our newspapers and our online media houses, are they telling us that Boko Haram is taking over? The military even has an online presence, and they always tell us when they're attacking locations and all that. So we have to always, in this kind of situation, rely on those types of intelligence. So we can't cook up our own facts. So based on, for example, if we want to confirm that Boko Haram is taking over a community or are reclaiming territories like we've been hearing, then we need the facts. We need the figures. We need to know which community, which area, which location, which part of the state or another state are they in, as the case may be. So that is where the issues lie. So as much as we want to find solutions to this problem, until we have concrete evidence, that is human intelligence or open order, we really can't say.
I agree with you there, but how do we then get this information? Because the worry has always been, are they telling us enough? Telling us the truth is a whole other conversation. Are they telling us enough? How much do we need to know? Because intelligence is intelligence, we can't know everything. But Nigerians also feel like we never really know what's going on with regards to security or the lack of it. How are they telling us enough, you think? Those who should be talking to us.
The truth is, we should check the government in times past. We've not even had as much information as we are having now, considering that the internet is open to all of us. So when a villager or a local finds out an issue, a code or something, they can easily just go on Twitter and go, "Oh, my village is burning, help me," So are they telling us enough? I think that is where the discretion of the military people are. They always have to decide what they are telling us. They decide. They are the ones in charge of our security. What we do is, which is difficult at a time like this, is trust them. It's difficult. I assure you, considering that people are actually facing life and death situations and they don't know how they might survive the next day. We basically still have to rely on the discretion of the military to tell us as much as they want to tell us. And I assure you, they've greatly improved over the years, because before we wouldn't even know if there was airstrikes in Damasak or in Kukawa. But these days, we know about them. They tell us. The military themselves put up information and they say, "Oh, this is happening right here, right now. This was what we're able to do, and this was what we're able to counter and repel," and so on.
Are they doing enough, you think, to secure Nigeria?
Exactly. Those are the questions. That's a very good question. I always say something like, "How do you know enough?" That's the first thing. How do you know enough? Considering the terrain that we work with, how do we know if they're doing enough? In the sense that the vastness of the states themselves, the states are so gigantic. Where are the settlers in? Where is the location of the military? Are the military coming into those places? It's a very good question, and I do believe someone in the military, like the Chief of General Staff, could do that for us and tell us, oh, the military are doing enough, but this and this and this are the issues we are facing. Maybe the terrain is tougher than we expected, or our reconnaissance vehicles cannot plow through some particular locations. So it is a good question, and I would also like to know an answer to that.
Now, beyond the Northeast, there's a lot of other issues that seem to have been a problem, especially in the recent past. We heard a lot about the herdsmen issue and the people being attacked, and they started moving even down south at a point. I don't know if it's COVID, but we don't seem to have heard a lot of that recently. But that still seems to be happening. I mean, in pockets, you know, the kidnappings are happening. Robberies are on the uptick in a lot of parts of the country now because people have been without work and money for so long now. And they need to find a way to sort of survive, and it looks like innocent Nigerians are bearing the brunt of that. So there's a lot happening. On the other side, there's a complaint about the fact that we've had service chiefs who've been there unchanged for the first time in probably our history for this long, and not, in a lot of Nigerians' opinions, doing or showing enough results for what they're doing. The Inspector General of Police, or the service chiefs, as it were. Where does that leave the average Nigerian with regards to looking at government and saying, okay, because we've talked about whether the military is doing enough, but looking at government to say, Nigerians are complaining a lot about this, a lot of things, but it doesn't seem to be that sort of push from government saying, okay, let's try things differently. Do you think we need a change of guards at the top of our security echelon where we say, okay, let's try something different, or let's rejig things? Because people don't seem to see that happening when things seem to be either remaining the same or even getting worse in most instances.
Yeah, the thing is this, every time the government wants to make a decision, especially when it comes to changing service chiefs all around all the military edges, I believe they put into consideration so many factors, right? And the service chiefs that have been chosen now, to be frank, the question is are there reports showing what they've been able to do?
The Nigerians can see the number of deaths.
Yeah,
there's a lot that
that's
says
the thing.
that people
because
are not.
Human intelligence is telling us people are being attacked on all sides, either kidnappings or robberies, farmers being attacked on their farmlands, people with arms generally moving around at a very larger pace than we should even be expecting in that sense. The truth is, well, from my perspective in this case, is that will it actually change anything if we change the service chiefs? Because the reason we think that way is because we always believe that when we change things, especially the people at the helm of power at a particular moment in time, it's supposed to galvanize and reboot things and make things a bit more hot. But the question is, what if they do change the service chiefs and it remains the same? What do we say then?
At least we would have tried, don't you think?
Yeah, tried in what sense? From whose perspective? So is it the people that will feel that, okay, I think the government heard us, or the government feels that, okay, this person is the most competent person I can find for this situation. So for the meantime, I hope it can figure it out. Let's give him a chance. Do you get what I mean? So this is the tone of, the thing is, I really love it when Nigerians can understand the tone of every government. That's where the analysis part comes in. When you look at a government and you look at the government and say, okay, how is this government handling issues on a general perspective? When it comes to ministers, how do you change the ministers? How do you change the service chiefs? So when you see the tone of a particular government, try and understand, and that's where communication also comes in. Communication, the government has to communicate to us and let us understand, oh, the reason these people are remaining as service chiefs is because this.
Are they doing that?
That I don't think so. I've not seen a media person write us and say, oh, the service chiefs are remaining. This is the decision of the government.
You've talked a lot about in your opinion. In your opinion, are the service chiefs doing a good job?
How can I measure it?
I mean,
how can I really measure it?
See how you can measure it. You're a Nigerian. Mm-hmm. You're an intelligence analyst.
Yeah.
You see reports. You hear reports. You're also human.
Mm-hmm.
You know the death tolls.
Mm-hmm.
So before they came in, you know how bad things were. Now they're there. You know how things are. Mm-hmm. So on a general analysis of how bad are things, or how better have things become, or how worse have things gotten, how would you rate them?
Do I have the capacity to rate the government? Well, to be frank, I don't have the capacity. I don't think I do have the capacity to rate the government in that sense. So as much as I want to make a conclusion about how the situation looks, you understand, we can't take away the fact that the military are still trying as much as they can. They're still doing their own part. Yeah. It might not be enough for us because we want things to change.
I mean, lives have been lost. You can't blame people.
I get it completely. But with this kind of situation, it's deteriorating. And as it deteriorates, if there are not measures put in place to like plug it in and just hold it right there, plug it in, plug it in, plug it in. Just like when the military first started, they came in, pushed the insurgents out of particular areas, like doing intense work. Do you get what I mean? They did that from the beginning. But things change, things evolve. Yeah. The question is, has there been a collaboration of information moving in between all the military operations that we have? Are there information going around and making each person that maybe, for example, they've pushed out Boko Haram in this particular area? Is there information maybe from the humans living there that Boko Haram came back and that has been, transmitted to other places where they can come back and do and clean up again? Yeah. Do you get what I mean? So the truth is, the military is trying, but we hope that they drive in far.
On a final note now, before we go, what advice would you give if you sat with anybody in government who works in, in intelligence, in the security sector, or just saying, this is what we should be doing? What do you think Nigeria should be doing? Maybe on a general perspective or specifically with regards to certain regions or whatever's going on anywhere.
Yeah, for me, the first thing for me, I think is a mantra: collaboration. Collaboration helps us to understand a particular area. For example, you might be an expert in Northeast now. Like Northeast, the length and breadth, every road, I bring you in. As a leader, I will bring you in. I know someone else that knows about the Northwest. I bring the person in. I know someone else that knows maybe the origin of how some of this violence started. I bring the person in. So by the time we bring our heads together, we begin to find a pathway to bringing out solutions. Because for me, I'll repeat it again, collaboration is one of the things that we are not getting right yet. Because there are key people that know about these things, and we are not finding them to bring in, to come and help us to have a broader view. Then the second thing is communication. It is of utmost importance for you to understand what is going on in anywhere, any place you find yourself. The government has to communicate to us what they're trying to do. Now, there is that issue where the government also has to be careful about the communication, because they might have people that are infiltrators that might share this information. So, you balance it out. You do your collaboration with the right people, the people that know what to do, how to do it, the solutions. Then you find a proper platform to communicate. And you don't communicate to us like we don't know what we are seeing, right? Or you don't communicate like we're toddlers. Just communicate to us. Try and understand our emotional feeling at a particular moment in time. Because as these issues occur, people are dying, and that's one thing. That's one thing we need to find a solution to.
Well, thank you very much, Kekeloma. I mean, security is always a very sensitive topic for me and for a lot of Nigerians, because everybody deals with it on a daily basis, and I think it's the one thing everybody can relate to, maybe besides power. The issues that come with it. Thanks for being here today.
It's lovely.
We'll take a break now and be right back. Please don't go away.
Still focusing on security, we chat with someone who's been in those rooms and wore those shoes of fighting the security problems in Nigeria. Colonel Yomi Dare speaks with Ebuka Obi Uchendu next on Rubbin Minds.
Welcome back. We're still talking security on the show today, and I'm joined now by someone who knows very well how this works from the inside, retired Colonel Yomi Dare. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Thank you very much for having me on board. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. I want to go straight to it now and talk about, the issues with regards to how security personnel have handled things in the last couple of years. We did hear, I remember in 2015 when Mr. President was sworn in, talked about leading from the front and moving the defense sort of apparatus to Maiduguri in particular, to run things from there. We don't know how that panned out eventually, but we've heard a lot of complaints then. Recently, we saw a viral video from a military personnel talking about welfare and things along those lines. So there's just a general belief that besides the military being underfunded or not funded properly or not having enough support from government, there's just that the morale generally is very low. What is your take on how security has been run in the last couple of years?
Thank you very much. Well, we have been back and forth on the issue of security in this country. And my take here is that when it comes to security, no one can claim monopoly of knowledge because security, as I say, is everybody's business. Now, to your question, you see series of we've had series of leadership in terms of managing this current quagmire that we are into, and of course that is the issue of the terrorism in the northeast in particular. And as we speak, if we have to be very honest with ourselves, this has cut across the whole nation. So I want to look at it from the perspective of addressing what I believe are the social problems in this country. We have contemporary social problems, and we first must address this contemporary social problems. This should address the rule of law. This should address the issue of anti-corruption agencies, and of course, civil society, government policies, infrastructural development, and then maintenance, job creation, in order to reduce unemployment, and of course, the issue of religious organizations and the opinion of public opinion of leaders. You see, aside that, right now we have the military, facing the terrorists, on all fronts, so to speak. They've been on it in the last 10 years, and I think it's high time that a decisive action needs to be taken by the president.
So that's sorry to cut you in there, because that's where I think a lot of Nigerians are concerned about. You mentioned basically the phrase, the decisive action, and there doesn't seem to be a belief by a lot of Nigerians that that is happening, or there's an intention for that to happen anytime in the recent past or even in the future. Because we did hear that we've reclaimed territory back from the terrorists. All of a sudden, we're hearing stories about territory being taken back again by these terrorists. Once in a while, we hear about people being slaughtered. There's a lot that still seems to be happening, and it seems to be getting worse. What is this decisive action that needs to be taken, and what do you think is hindering it?
Yeah, for me, decisive action in the sense that I recall stating that on one of your programs on this channel's platform. There's need to declare a state of emergency in the entire area where we're having these insurgents. There's need to declare a state of emergency, and then we need to take the battle right, to the enemy. I expect that we should have quick intervention forces. I'm sure there's something akin to that right now, but I think we need to add more spirit, more life, more energy into that, such that they work, in close cooperation, especially with the air companies, with the Air Force, such that if anything happens, maximum, say 10, 15 minutes, they are already there, Yeah. And aside that, like I said earlier, there's need to declare a state of emergency. And how do you achieve that? First, probably, suspend, other forms of governance there and bring in, purely emergency rule. If it's going to be for maybe in the first instance for 6 months, watching, studying the situation, how things get under control.
We'll take a break now and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and welcome back to Rubbin Minds. We continue the conversation with Colonel Yomi Dare. Ebuka, over to you.
Are you worried, or is it unusual for you there that we've had service chiefs stay in power for this long? A lot of Nigerians have concluded that maybe they've either run out of ideas or they've stayed there too long, and we just need a new breath of life with regards to how the security challenges are being tackled in Nigeria. Do you think it's a good thing that they've stayed this long, or you think it's become part of the problem?
Well, in all my entire service career, I've never witnessed a situation where service chiefs are left in that particular office for this long, and I've seen quite a number. But again, the issue of a change or removal of service chiefs, that's a prerogative of the commander-in-chief, that is the president himself. Now, having said that, it's not to say that probably they've run out of ideas. After all, they are not the only one. People come up with ideas for them, to marshal and then see to its execution or approve of its execution. But as far as I'm concerned, in my own personal opinion, I do not see anything wrong. I believe that at this point in time, because there has been a lot of hue and cry about the need to change the service chiefs, I don't think there's anything wrong in changing the service chiefs. I mean, as we speak, they are very fantastic officers in their own rights, and they've done so well, especially since 2015. And I mean, I have good relationship. They are all my friends, and I know that they are good, thoroughbred officers. But again, change. There's need for change, so that people can, get fresh ideas and then move forward.
When you were a junior officer, did you have reasons to complain about welfare?
Oh, well, when I was serving, yes. I mean, whether you like it or not, human needs is insatiable, and like Oliver Twist, people want to crave for more, So, but again, you must act within the content or within available resources to manage the situation. So when such fundings are increased, maybe for equipment, of course, first and foremost, I think the well-being of the fighting forces should be looked into. For example, I mean, if a soldier knows that even if he doesn't come back home from battle, that is, if he lost his life, his family will be taken care of. I think he will continue to fight until his last, blood is dropped. Yeah. I think welfare is very, very germane, in the whole equation. Yeah.
How would you rate this government when it comes to security? Would you give them a pass?
Well, that is very, very, very subjective. It depends on how you look at it, because the problem of security, like I traced back, is something that has become hydra-headed, and well, this government didn't create it, but one expects that, as they came in fairness to them, well, they've made some impact, but I think there's still much more to be done. There's still much more.
Okay. Just before we go now, so I mean, what would you say we need to be doing? Where would you say we need to be headed with regards to how security here is run? What should the service chiefs be looking at? What should the government be doing differently? I mean, this government still has about 2.5 years or more to go, and this fight is still a big one for them. What should they be focusing on?
Well, for the service chiefs, since they've had, it's like a directed net I mean, the whole citizen, people are crying and clamoring that they are not doing enough. And even the president alluded to that. But for me, if they have another opportunity, that is by way of remaining in office, I think it's high time for them to go back to the drawing boards and look inwards and re-examine and re-strategize on their approach to especially welfare and then equipment and then even the strategy of executing the war against Boko Haram, especially the war against insurgency, the banditry issue, the herdsmen farmers clash, the kidnapping, the series of armed robbery, and other organized crimes. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. And of course, the federal government should also look at community policing. For me, to reduce the crime rate across this country, there is need for us to encourage community policing, and this should be facilitated. The policing should not be much of force, but it should be of service. It should be of service, and it should be the policing with a human face.
Are you worried about the future?
Well, naturally, because you want to bequeath a society that is even better than what you met to your children and your children's children. So, I mean, I am one of those that really care that, oh God, what's going to happen, in about 20, 30 years from now, when we'll be restricted in terms of mobility, as if we were still alive as very old people, and we all crave for a better Nigeria for our children and our children's children. Yes.
So, I mean, we've talked a lot about the Northeast. There's a lot that's happening down south. You've even mentioned some of them, the kidnappings. We had, quote unquote, the herdsmen issues going on earlier on. So it's not just the Northeast that's going through this. I mean, there's the South, and you mentioned community policing. There's people who have even talked about state policing. How viable are these options? Do you realistically see Nigeria or our legislature stepping up to the plate to say, okay, this is what Nigerians probably need, and let's rejig our policing system? Do you think that's ever going to happen?
Are you talking about the feasibility or the practicability of community policing?
Let's talk about both.
Well, I have always said this. I really don't see anything wrong about us introducing community policing and even state policing. Skeptics are afraid that, given the political situation or the political culture of our people, that you find, especially the state governors, that they are going to hijack, the whole thing, and then they start, dictating and whatnot. And at the same time, some other people are afraid right there at the top that, by the time there is state policing or community policing, their power, will be distilled, and they will not have such authority. Well, I think in this 21st century, it's high time that we petition some of this mundane and unproductive, uncivilized, and not forward-looking mentality. If a governor decides to, become or turns himself into a monster and starts dictating, well and good. It's tenure. It's all transient. This tenure will come and it will go, or and then he'll be voted out. So we just must start this thing so that at the end of the day we'll get it right. But when we are not even starting and we start speculating and thinking about the worst, I don't think that's going to get us anywhere, in my opinion. We must just give it a try, and especially for community policing, it will help us. It will reduce the crime rate seriously across the nation. It will definitely reduce crime rates.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us today and for your insights on how things are running. And I mean, we all pray for a better Nigeria. We all hope that things can only get better.
On the final lap of the security conversation, we'll chat with journalist and an indigene of Southern Kaduna, Bivan Wegoni, on his thoughts on the recent, yet not so recent security problems in Southern Kaduna. Next on Rubbin Minds.
We're still talking security on the show today, and now we're moving to Southern Kaduna. A lot is happening there. Most people are not sure about what the picture is or what exactly is happening. And I'm joined now by someone who should know and give us better insight. Bivani Wagoni, thanks for being here today.
Hi, Ebuka. Good day to you, and thank you for having me on the show.
What exactly is going on in Southern Kaduna? We see pictures, we see videos. We're not sure what's recent or what's new or what is really happening with things there, especially because this is an ongoing conversation or conflict from years past. We don't know exactly what's happening in 2020. What's the situation of things right now?
We just found ourselves in a sad and an unfortunate situation in Southern Kaduna, where people are dying on a daily basis in their numbers, and we are being coerced into calling them bandits. Meanwhile, that is not their identity. It has nothing to do with banditry. Giving you a rundown of recent events, just like what happened in Dapchi and Chibok. It's now happening in Southern Kaduna, Chikun local government area. Students writing JSSC were kidnapped, and it's so sad that it is not even in the news. And the government, the narrative is still the same, trying to mislead Nigerians into thinking our people are aggressive and they don't want to live in peace and harmony with their neighbors, which is totally false. I'll get to that much later in the conversation. Now, the most affected places are Kajuru, Kaura, Zango Kataf, Kachia, and then Chikun and other local governments in Southern Kaduna. These people are having mass burials in numbers. Now, the sad part of it is that when people come out to defend themselves, they are being arrested and locked up and trumped up charges. And it's just bizarre and kind of insane to say that someone comes to kill me and then I come out to defend myself, and then the person that was supposed to protect me, that was supposed to defend me, comes out to arrest me. That is how sad and unfortunate the situation is in Southern Kaduna. Now, they keep making references to what has happened in the past, most especially the Zango Kataf crisis of 1992. You know, whenever you have a conversation with people from that area, they always keep mentioning that the Zango Kataf crisis was bloody and all of that. But it's still the same narrative. The Zango Kataf people came out to defend themselves, and they're making it look like it's the worst thing that's ever happened in northern Nigeria. Let's even come to the recent one of the post-election violence of 2011, where in many northern states, people were killed. People were killed in their numbers. Corps members were slaughtered. Women were raped. In many colleges of education or schools in the north, that period, women were raped. And so when we talk about the circles of atrocities that have been committed against people, please, the Zango Kataf is not the worst. It's just one of many that we should condemn. If we are to condemn one thing, we should condemn the other. Now, what I also see is that it's a script that is playing out here. From time immemorial in the history of Nigeria, there have been a particular set of people who feel they have the right to own Nigeria. They have the right to govern Nigeria. And it's been a while they had someone to really come out and stand for them. Now that they have someone or some people standing and speaking on their behalf, our people are dying in their numbers. To me, it's a script that has been laid down for people hundreds of years ago, and that's the script that they are following, and it is very sad and unfortunate.
So I hear you there, and I mean this argument could go different ways. I mean, if I'm talking to whoever it is you're accusing now, but I want to talk about the government. Why would the government not what is the government's agenda? Why does the government care about land in southern Kaduna when the entire state is a part of their sort of under their governance? Why would the government, because I hear this conversation a lot about, the government is not trying to protect us. What is the government's agenda? Why would the government have an agenda?
Okay, why is the government interested in southern Kaduna? Now, this question would best be answered by many questions also. Why is the government twisting the narrative about what is happening in southern Kaduna? Why are they refusing to intervene and act appropriately and rightly? Why is there no justice? Why are they arresting people protecting themselves? Why are they stifling free speech in the state? So many questions just to one question. I know that's how bad and sad the situation is in Nigeria, not just in southern Kaduna or Kaduna State as a whole.
I've read a lot in the media, social media, about the fact that a lot of this is either played up or exaggerated or even not completely true. And that's why when I started off this conversation with you, I talked about the fact that a lot of things are unclear. So it's hard for people who are not there to understand exactly what's happening and to understand who to believe. So how much of this is, I know where you stand, but how do people get to understand what exactly is happening and how much of this to believe?
Okay, I am a journalist. Sometime back, I was on my way home in a taxi and I was listening to the news. There was this guy who was reading about suicide that took place in Jos. A man committed suicide, and the newscaster was very excited reading that story. He was very happy. I felt bad. The next day, I went to the radio station, looked for the guy, called him and said, look, what you did yesterday, reading that news, you're a fantastic reader. But when you're talking about death, be empathic about it. You have no moral justification to read the news the way you did. The point here is we have pictures on social media, we have visuals, we have people coming out to narrate their ordeals in the hands of these so-called bandits. So what is going to make you think that people are just coming here to chase clout? Let me use that slang for now. So it is insensitive of anyone to come out to say that southern Kaduna is not, what is happening in southern Kaduna is exaggerated. To be honest with you, the social media is not even doing enough. Let's not even talk about the traditional media. Social media is not doing enough to what is happening in southern Kaduna. We've seen mass burials and all of that. But then the social media has given us an opportunity to express ourselves. And I think that's a great one. So what is happening in southern Kaduna is real. It's even underreported because just like I said, students were abducted in Chikun local government area. Makeli was attacked this year with tens of people killed. Last week, they went back to attack the same community, but it's like the people don't sleep anymore. They ran away and there was no casualty. So that is what is happening. Even communities that they've attacked, they are still attacking again. And there are communities, over 13 of them, that the people have left those villages and they are not there. Ebuka, when you are ready or you have someone who is ready to take on this and ready to link them to the right people that will take them to those communities and let them go and see things for themselves, how could it be that the people, the community was ransacked, let's say around May or thereabout, but farming activities are still ongoing in those communities? I mean, they are ongoing right now. And the people are not in their community. So who is doing the farming? And the people cannot go back. Some people lost over 50 of their relatives and they have not even gone back to bury them because their communities are being occupied by these people killing the people. That is the reality. The reality. What is happening in southern Kaduna is even underreported.
We'll take a break now and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show. Welcome back to Rubbin Minds. The conversation with Bivan Magoni on Rubbin Minds continues.
Well, I get your point. Like I said, I mean, I understand where you're standing. I'm just wondering, if there's a way to sort of verify this information and get people to understand exactly what's going on, and especially talking about the federal government now, is it a case? Do you think this is a situation where they should come in? Because the state governor says he's handling this or will handle this. Is the federal government supposed to step in at some point? What do you think needs to happen?
It's a good idea to have the government wade into the situation to arrest it. It's a very beautiful idea. I wish they would step in and arrest the situation. But then we have so many security issues in Nigeria piling up. We have so many carryovers. They are not done with Boko Haram. They are not done with Fulani banditry. They are not done with other things. And what makes you think that it's what is happening in southern Kaduna that they will try to arrest, So we have issues piling up. The federal government leaves us with just little confidence to what is happening. So yes, we wish to, but we all know that they have so much on their hands now. And the state government, well, let it not be like I'm singing a song here. The government leaves us with little or no confidence for now. So yes, let the federal government step in. But if the federal government is going to step in, let them step in and do a thorough job without fear or favor. And we don't want to hear that they've set up a committee here, a committee there. We are tired of reading that in the news. We're tired of seeing that in the papers. We don't want to hear a committee has been set up. If one person dies today, there's going to be a committee that's set up to look into the killings, and still no one will be caught, no one will be prosecuted. And you don't hear anything about the story, and it will die just like that. So yes, we want the government, the federal government, to step in, but then they should do a thorough job.
Okay. Has there been an opportunity where members of your community have had to sit with the governor to express what you're expressing to me now?
Oh yes, there are plans. Last week also, the Hausa Fulani community signed a peace pact with the Zango Kataf local government area, and I think it's a good step. It's a good attempt, rather. But I have questions to ask. What happens to Kajuru local government area, who have the highest number of casualties? What happens to Kaura? What happens to Kachia? What happens to Chikun local government, where people are being kidnapped? I mean, over 30 people about a week or two ago were kidnapped, and nothing has been done. So if they are signing or they're trying to restore peace in Zango Kataf local government, what happens to the other local government areas in the state? Now, surprisingly, our governor has not visited the affected communities. I mean, we saw him on television in a political rally, but back home here, where his people are dying, he has not deemed it fit to go and visit the people. And another thing I keep looking at and asking is, has he shelved the plans to create an emirate in southern Kaduna? Has he? Southern Kaduna people are predominantly Christians. They don't need an emirate. They have chiefdoms. I will forever respect Governor McCarthy. McCarthy saw the problem, and then he decided to work with the people. The roads we have there are built by McCarthy. It's like I'm trying to deviate here, but the point is, he's trying to bring in some sort of development that will not affect the people directly. Do we even need emirates? How many people need an emirate? Why do we need an emirate in southern Kaduna? We don't need it. So this is where I get to ask the question: can he create a chiefdom for our people, for the Grok, for the Ham, for the Jew, for the Ninkyop, for the Takad, for the Sholier, for the Atiap people in McCarthy local government? Can he do that in Zaria local government? These are questions that need answers. So why are you creating an emirate in southern Kaduna? These people have lived peacefully without an emirate. They have chiefdoms. So why are you creating emirates for them? These are the challenges and the problems that we are facing in southern Kaduna. Until they shelve those plans, we will not even agree. I'm a very young person. I'm not even into the traditional leadership kind of thing, but I will not watch my people subjected to the rule of an emirate. If that is going to be done, then let it be done equally in northern Kaduna, where predominantly the people are Muslims.
All right. Before we go now, how optimistic are you about this coming to an end anytime soon? Are you worried? Are you optimistic?
Well, with the way things are going, I don't see this coming to an end anytime soon. Yes, doubt me not. Because Southern Kaduna people are dying. It's only Southern Kaduna people or people from other regions that are crying. What about people from Northern Kaduna? Now, I'm not just saying that. When it happens in Northern Kaduna, Southern Kaduna people keep quiet. And that is why the Southeasterners are crying and they're the only ones feeling the pains and no one is speaking. You know, I have a problem with Northern Nigeria. When it is happening to other people, they keep quiet. I think to a large extent, that's why people ignore mostly what happens in Northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria has the political will and power. So they need to wake up and say, look, we've had enough of this. So we need more Northerners to speak up against what is happening in the North. See, I keep saying this. The day we solve Northern Nigeria's problem, every Nigerian will be happy. I am from the North. I am a proud Northerner. But then when things are happening, the people just ignore. And you find out that it's other issues that are not really going to affect people directly and add value to their lives that they keep speaking and talking about. And it shouldn't be about that. So until the people come together and then say enough is enough. We've had enough of the killing, the kidnapping, the terrorism, the banditry. We are not seeing this coming to an end anytime soon. And like MLK would say, I'm saying this because when people come out to protest, they are being arrested and locked up. And, we have lots of our Southern Kaduna youth in jail right now. So if their crime is protesting, and like MLK would say, I was proud of my crime. It was the crime of joining my people in a non-violent protest against injustice. It was the crime of instilling in my people the sense of dignity and self-respect. So yes, I join my people to say I am proud of my crime. I will keep speaking against what is happening, not just in Southern Kaduna, in other parts of Nigeria, because until the people wake up and say, we've had enough, this is going to continue. Nigeria gained independence how many years ago? And we are still here. Come on, people. We've had enough. Wake up. Say enough is enough. Whether it's happening to your neighbor or it's not happening to your neighbor. When one person dies, there's the need for you to wake up and say, look, this person didn't need to die in the first place. So let's wake up and call for an end to this banditry and killings. And until everyone wakes up and then we have an end to this, people like me will keep talking. We will keep talking.
All right. Thank you very much, Bivan. I hear you, and this is one of the reasons why we're doing this. Hopefully those who should be listening are listening, and we start getting an end in sight to all of this. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh yes, Ebuka, thank you for having me, and do enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, that's our show for today. Like I always say, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. Rubbin Minds now is the handle. Please use the hashtag Rubbin Minds when you tweet at us. I'll see you next Sunday.